64 writers who contributed to it, and I was fortunate to have a piece in it. But today, what I'm reading is called Trudeau Across the Street. 1967, Trudeau Mania. My room at the University of Saskatchewan residence is wallpapered with posters of Trudeau, Pierre Elliott, that is. Some loved him and some hated him. Some loved him for the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and for repatriating our Constitution. Some loved him for saying, the state has no business in the bedrooms of the nations, and just watch me, before invoking the War Measures Act during the October crisis. Some loved him for sliding down the banister at the Chateau Laurier. Some hated him for his arrogance and sense of entitlement, for being a playboy. Some hated him for bilingualism and biculturalism, for French on their cornflakes box, and for asking Western farmers, why should I sell your wheat? Some hated him for doing a pirouette behind the Queen's back. Pierre married Margaret. They had 3 sons. They were the model of a bilingual Canadian family. 2021. Pierre is gone. Justin is Prime Minister. Some love him and some hate him. Some love him for his quirky socks and his rock star status on the world stage. Some love him for naming a cabinet that looks like Canada and proclaiming Indigenous lives matter. Some love him for his affection toward his mother and for talking openly about her mental illness on Bell Canada Let's Talk Day. Some hate him for being born on Christmas Day with a silver spoon in his mouth. Some hate him for SNC-Lavalin and for increasing Canada's debt. Some hate him for calling an election about nothing during a pandemic and for taking a holiday on the first National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Justin is married to Sophie. They have 3 children. They're the ideal bilingual Canadian family. So much for Pierre and Justin, but you may be thinking, what does any of this have anything to do with bumper slogans? After all, I did say the title of my reading was Trudeau Across the Street. You see, my neighbor has an adult son with a truck that reads Trudeau. Well, not just Trudeau, Trudeau. To be precise, and at the risk of offending some of you, it reads Fucktrudeu. Honest to God, can you believe it? Such disrespect, such gall. Ironically, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms protects his freedom of speech. I wonder what would happen if I took matters into my own hands. If I took some sandpaper and crossed the street and scraped that offensive slogan off his bumper. Would the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms protect me? It does say in fine print that it restricts hate speech, obscenity, and defamation. Surely if it went to court, a judge would understand that I couldn't take it anymore, seeing Fuck Trudeau every time I looked out my front window. Surely a judge would see it my way, don't you think? Thank you.